Hey guys, Mr. Middleton here. We're going to our first lesson in the algebra year, order of operations. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to simplify expressions using order of operations, and you should be able to evaluate expressions, again, using order of operations. Okay. The mathematical order of operations is used to simplify expressions correctly. There is a specific sequence that you should follow when using order of operations. Um, no, when you're solving or simplifying a problem, and we'll get into that. But first, let's talk about some terminology. Important term that we'll use, and you should know the difference between, is expression. An expression is a mathematical phrase which means that it does not have an equal sign. An expression and an equation is different. So we're going to talk about simplifying expressions, and really that will translate for the most part to equations. Okay, an acronym that's often used to help us remember the order of operations, and you guys might be familiar with this, is PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And all that stands for, and it kind of tells us the order of what we should be doing, how we should try to simplify problems, but all it stands for is P for parentheses, E for exponent, exponents, M for multiplication, D for division, there we go, A for addition, and S for subtraction. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, you'll notice that we have M and D kind of circled together and A and S circled together. And that's because these are essentially the same things. And this is what I mean. If I multiply, let's say 4 times 1/2, that answers 2. Okay, if I divide 4 by 2, the answer is 2. Multiplying by 1/2 and dividing by 2 is essentially the same thing. It is the same thing. Okay, that's the same thing as if I add -2 to 4, the answer is 2. If I subtract 2 from 4, the answer is 2. So adding a negative and subtracting is the same thing, just like multiplying by a reciprocal and dividing is the same thing. So these two operations, you will simplify, like multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, you will simplify them as they appear from left to right. Okay, so don't do multiplication first and then division. That's not how we do it. We do multiplication and division from left to right. They are essentially the same thing. Multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, so let's look at how that will work out. In our first example, we have 8 divided by 2 times 4. Okay, we have multiplication and division here. And again, with those, we do them from left to right. 8 divided by 2 times 4. Now, if you do the multiplication first, like PEMDAS would say if you follow it strictly by the acronym, you would have to do 2 times 4, which would be 8, and then you'd have 8 divided by 8, which would get you 1. But if you do the division first, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16. Again, we just went through this rule. You should go from left to right here. And so the order does matter. The correct answer is 16. Alright, so how that will play out, this shows how that will play out just a little bit. We have some more examples here. You can try these and try to skip around and see how the answers come out, or you can follow along with me as we go through these. Alright, so we're going to use the order of operations to simplify these expressions. Remember, parentheses means that we're going to simplify as much as possible within the parentheses before we do anything else. So, parentheses, we have those here. 14 plus 3, that gives me 17. Okay. My next step, I have 6 squared, that's 36. So I have 32 plus 36 minus 17. These two together give me 68. 68 minus 17 will give me 51. So this problem simplified, the expression simplified is 51. Again, notice this is an expression because there's no equal sign. Alright, problem number 2. Going through our checklist, no parentheses, no exponents. Okay, so we have division first. So division, 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, then we need to do multiplication here because that's the next on our checklist, multiplication and division. And then we do addition because addition comes after those two. 2 plus 28 is 30. Okay, so pretty simple, just going through our checklists. Doing the same thing here. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. Okay, again, going from left to right. If you did this out of order, you might see 12 minus 7, but again, subtraction and addition, it's left to right. You don't have to go strictly off of their order in PEMDAS. Okay? And then the final problem, if you really want to challenge yourself or you feel like you got it, this is your time to pause it so you can try it on your own. Inside the parentheses here, we'll do those first. So here we have 18 minus 5 squared. Okay, and notice that these brackets are kind of like an extra set of parentheses. So we'll do everything inside here before we worry about that 4. So now we got our parentheses done. We have 5 squared, that's our exponents in here. We'll do that next. So we have 18 minus 25. That is negative 7. So now we have 4 times negative 7. Positive times a negative is a negative. Oops. Positive times a negative is a negative. And so our answer then will be negative 28 for this problem. Alright, so some order of operations there. Pretty simple. Flipping to the back side, we'll talk about evaluating the expression. Okay? And evaluate means a bunch of different things outside of math, but inside of math, when we evaluate, what we're doing is we're replacing a variable with a number. Okay, some unknown with a known. And it's a good habit to use parentheses whenever you do this. Okay, that'll help you keep your positives and negatives in check, to help you separate what's actually happening, multiply when you need to, rather than accidentally writing, 35 when it should be 3 times 5. Okay, and we'll see this in this problem. So here we have, they tell us to evaluate the expression when x is 5 and y is negative 2. So I'm going to first start by plugging in my values. 3. X is 5, so when I see x, I'm going to plug it in parentheses. Y is negative 2, I'm going to plug that into the parentheses. And now I'm just simplifying. Again, going through PEMDAS, I should do multiplication first. 3 times 3 times 5, which is 15, plus 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. Okay, when I add a negative, that means I'm really subtracting, so 15 minus 4 is 11. If you feel like you got it and that makes sense, then you can try to do these on your own, and then try to skip through and see what happens. See if you're on track. We'll do the same thing with these problems. So 5 minus negative 4 minus a negative is positive. So 5 plus 4, which is 9. And I just circle or square my answer so it's easy to find out, easy to see when I'm checking my work or showing you my work. Number 3, same thing here. We should go inside the brackets or inside the parentheses first. I'm going to kind of bracket these so I don't get confused with my own parentheses. Okay, so 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. So I got that one figured out. Go to the other side. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Plus 3 is negative 5. So we have 3 times negative 5, which should give us negative 15. Again, a positive times a negative is negative. And then number 4, y squared, so I have negative 2 squared divided by 13 minus 5. So negative 2 squared is 4. Negative times a negative is positive. That's what squaring it means. 13 minus 5. Okay, we're going to do this first because it's in parentheses. So 13 minus 5 is 8. And then 4 divided by 8 equals 1/2. Or is 1/2. I guess I shouldn't say equals. 4 divided by 8 is equivalent to 1/2. Alright. Okay, so looking at this problem, it says John claims that x plus y squared equals x squared plus y squared. Is John correct? Show work to provide evidence. So let's see, it's easy enough for us to figure this out just by plugging in our values and seeing if it works. We know that x is 5. Okay, so I have 5 plus y is negative 2 squared. Okay, and we'll just see what this comes out to be. So 5 plus negative 2. Remember, plus and negative means we're subtracting. So 5 minus 2 gives us 3. 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, let's see what x squared plus y squared is. X squared, we'll just say 5 squared plus negative 2 squared. That is 25 plus 4, which gives us 29. Are these the same? No. So is John correct? No. John is wrong. I'll say wrong instead of isn't correct because I'll save myself some time. So here we go. We showed the work. 9 is not the same as 29. It's not the same thing. Okay, and so this shows you how evaluating an expression can be used to check your work. If we plug in our values, then we can see that maybe what we thought worked out doesn't actually work out. Okay, here's some symbols you should know. These are called absolute value brackets, and they represent a certain number's distance from 0. Okay. You'll see these a few times. We'll revisit these later in the year. But you should have a basic understanding here. So our first question, how far is negative 4 from 0? Well, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units to the left. And so we say, we represent that by saying that the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. It's 4 units away from 0. Okay, this next problem, how far away from 3, or how far is 3 from 0? Well, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we represent that by saying the absolute value of 3 is 3. Oops, way low. Okay. Alright, so give you a chance to look at that. Okay, so there you have it. After this, you should be able to use order of operations to simplify expressions, and you should also be able to evaluate using order of operations to simplify. Alright, see ya.